My name's Donald Jarvis. I live in Newbury. I grew up here for the last 12 years, and I attended Triton Regional High School as well as Triton Regional Middle School. I graduated from Triton High School back in 2004. In 2006, I joined the Mass National Guard. Reason being is I wanted to take advantage of the college benefits that they offered. The free college, the tuition fees and waivers, and hopefully get a good college career out of it. When I joined, September 2006, I was shipped off to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where I spent a few months doing combat engineer training. Combat engineers deal with bridges, explosives, demolition, and destroying things. Seemed like a fun idea at the time. And I was later deployed in June 2007 to Iraq for a route clearance, which entitles basically clearing the roadways of any hazardous and IEDs, as well as preventing IED emplacement, and assuring freedom of movement along all the major supply routes, or any supply routes throughout the Baghdad, the Iraq area. When I first deployed, that was actually a little nervous. Everybody watch the Hollywood movies and they see the combat thing, and it's completely different. So when I heard I was going for the first time, I ran through a lot of different emotions. I was excited, I was nervous, I was scared, I was curious to see what was going to happen. We arrived in Iraq around the summertime, and it was interesting. You get off the plane and it smells really bad. We arrived in the Baghdad airport, and the air quality was just terrible. But as soon as the back door on the plane comes down and you see Iraq, you kind of, it becomes reality. It hits you really hard. So, your adrenaline's rushing and you're kind of like not sure what's going to happen. We stayed in little transient tents, and it was different because you didn't know what was around you. It was nighttime. You didn't see anything. You just got in a van and drove. But the first couple of weeks, was you got your feet wet. If you went into the tour, you were settled in. We were good to go. I went on every mission from there on out. I was loving it. I came back home in June of 2008, and then when I came back home, I started, doing some work, and nothing crazy. They give you a window of time, hey, just so you know, the deployment's coming up for us. And when I was informed, I was excited. I couldn't wait. I pulled up the manuals, backed out, went over the vehicles again, there's a refresher course, got all packed up, getting back in shape, getting where I need to be. And it was just exciting. We arrived in Afghanistan end of January. Well, when you arrived in any place like that, there's a little bit of an anxiety that kicks in, but it's not as bad as it was in Iraq because I know what I was getting into, and I know I had the confidence there behind me, I guess you could say, from my prior experience. So I just wanted to get started. We arrived, I don't know the exact dates, we arrived around the end of January, and on February 13th I was hit by, I'd say, 250 to 300 pounds of explosives under my driver's seat, and it caused the vehicle to roll onto the driver's side. At that moment, I sustained a right knee injury, which, I stayed up in headquarters in the tent for a while, got checked up with the doctors, was on medication for it for a while. When it wasn't improving, I was sent back to the Kandahar base for more medical evaluations. The doctor there said that I was to be sent to Germany for further evaluation because of my knee. Wasn't improving after several weeks. I went to Germany. I was in Germany for about a week. I was doing weird things and I didn't even know it. My roommate in Germany was questioning why I was putting on my deodorant a lot, why I kept brushing my teeth all the time, and I just forgot. Just the bottom line. I just didn't know I did it already. So when they said that I had this traumatic brain injury thing, and I wanted to know more about what is this? And as we were talking, it made sense. The guy was talking to me about, some things that he was witnessing. It all clicked in. So I was kind of glad that I got treatment immediately instead of being thrown back out and exposed to, let's say another explosion. So it could have gotten worse. I got shipped down to DC after Germany. I was there from April to September, October of last year. Did tons of rehab, tons of memory work with the TBI clinic down at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. tons of vision rehab, physical therapy for my knee, tons of exercises for my knee, strengthening exercises, core exercises. We did some sleep studies, some memory enhancing programs, some new techniques like associations to memorize things and to connect stuff. I think it was great. I mean, I'm glad that it was diagnosed before it was too late, or before it could have gotten worse. Wounded Warrior Project covers just about everything you need as far as being a veteran goes. They do job work, they do therapy stuff, they offer housing treatment, they offer everything to help benefit a veteran. Whatever it may be, they have some kind of resources that connect you. What got me involved? I guess in Germany, when I got from Afghanistan, I had nothing but military clothing. And they gave me a ton of stuff. And they really were there. They support me. They call me once a month, see how I'm doing. And I'm glad to see a structure like that behind us. Guys didn't have that. After my Iraq deployment, I didn't have that. And even in Vietnam. So it's something I want to encourage and I want to bring awareness to and help support them so they can support other veterans. We did a charity show at the Grog last November and raised like $1,200. It was great. I did another show in March up in Hampton Beach. We raised about $3,000, $2,000 of which went to gift cards from the grocery stores around here, and they stayed within the community. All those $2,000 of gift cards fed homeless vets or vets who couldn't afford to put food on the table, and the other $1,000 went off to the major charity and got dispersed throughout the country. So now that I'm back home with the injury, I'm finding a few obstacles as far as like speaking and memory and all this stuff goes. But because of my treatment at Fort Belvoir, I've been able to learn how to adjust with it easier and to cope with it easier, find solutions and techniques to use that will make my life easier being back home. A lot of it comes like using my cell phone for reminders or alerts, making associations with things and trying to connect dots instead of trying to memorize all information, memorizing like key points, or like snippets or whatever. It's been helpful a lot. I forget everything, so I have all my appointments written down on my phone, which is synced to my iPad, which is synced to my laptop. So it's very good. They hooked up the VA in Boston. I did a lot of work with them, a lot of case study programs on TBI and PTSD. I'm in and out all the time with the VA as far as treatment, medical appointments go and treatment. And now I'm going to work with the VA through a Volk Rehab to help me get like a job placement thing. And the Volk Rehab basically get disability rating for the VA, and then you can qualify for, either job training or job placement or whatever, around your condition, and they work with you. So that's just getting started soon. So I'm pretty psyched about that. It was different because down in Fort Belvoir, everything was right there. My appointments, my support team, everything was right in that central network, like 20 feet. So it wasn't that far. When you come here, it was a little different. I had a hard time driving. I had wicked bad anxiety issues I'm still working on, but they're getting better behind the wheel. So driving, I just started driving a few months ago. And that was a huge problem because there's no VA or no medical treatment facility for that around in this Newbury area. So I had to go to Haverhill, Lowell, Bedford, Mass, Boston, Mass, all the time. And it was a real inconvenience. So it was frustrating. I wish I stayed down in Virginia. I mean, it was causing more problems than it was worth. But I worked with the VA, found some solutions that worked for the time being. But now that I can drive, I've been doing some driver's training early in the summertime. And now I'm just getting comfortable behind the wheel again, doing small travel, light travel at night. And I hope that at one point to be fully recovered or recovered to a degree where I'd be able to live a life, almost normal, in the normal category of things. One of my goals is to set up some kind of support group in the area, in Newbury, to help veterans out with the PTSD. Because that's like the hardest thing that vets have to deal with, in my perspective of things. And I would like, as being a guy in those shoes, who didn't have transportation, who couldn't make it to the PTSD appointments out in Lowell and Bedford. I would love to see something here like that. It takes stress off the veterans, makes it easier, brings the community together, helps them out. It's not easy being a vet. I mean, a lot of issues, like the PTSD is probably the biggest one right now that I'm dealing with. And there's not much support around the community for that and for the veterans. A lot of vets end up committing suicide over it, you know, on a serious note. So I wanted to get involved and help that and kind of fix that issue and find some solutions. And the reason why is I don't want to be losing more veterans to it. I don't want to be hearing about other vets, you know, having the struggle and they can't get to Bedford or Lowell, you know, and they live in a town that can offer it, you know, well, why not? So I figured the best way to address this issue, instead of chipping away at the bottom, is to go straight to the town officials and say, hey, I'm a disabled veteran, looking to help myself and other veterans. What can you guys do to offer? What can you guys do to help me?
Cool. That's awesome. So how has the feedback been so far for your...
Mostly great. I mean, everyone I've talked to is on board. And I'm working with a service dog charity now, and with their help and getting help for them, I mean, there's tremendous support. And I feel we're only just beginning. So my social worker from the VA called me up and said, hey, I just sat down this meeting with this, you know, at the VA about this new treatment we're doing to help vets with PTSD. We're teaming up with this charity called Operation Delta Dog and getting vets with PTSD and TBI service dogs. And she felt that I would heavily benefit from it, you know, and she wanted me to try it out and see if it worked, if it would work for me. So I talked to the charity and said, oh, they're like, yeah, you know, we're rescuing dogs from shelters and we're training them to be service dogs for you guys. And they needed money. So using all my connections from the music industry, I started reaching out and trying to put together fundraisers to raise the amount of money that would cost to rescue dogs and train them to be service dogs. It's about $8,000 a piece, including everything. My dog here needed about $2,000 extra for medical bills because he had some serious medical issues, plus the training cost. So with that being said, I figured this is our solution to help vets with PTSD. It's not the cure, but it's better than nothing. So I'm standing behind it and supporting it, and I'm going to try to get the word about it. They're the only charity that I know of in New England that's doing this. And the fact that they rescue the dogs from shelters and train them to be service dogs, it's kind of like fixing two problems at once. You know, so I feel it can be very beneficial, and it's a great program. The trainer that I'm working with has about 30 years of experience training service dogs. So they're well trained, well knowledged, and they train them to the veteran themselves, you know, the veteran's needs and all that. So I just felt that the economy is tough. People can't donate too much, but with the proper help, maybe she can get a bunch of money, maybe in small increments, maybe big donations. I mean, it's all learning how it's learning the best way to cope with it. There's several ways you can deal with, you know, the issues. I'm trying to make it a positive thing. So that's my hope, like positive treatment, positive reinforcement, positive treatment, and just trying to surround yourself with positive energy. I'm involved with three churches in this area: Byfield, Newburyport, and one in Amesbury. I mean, I feel that's very therapeutic. I go to a lot of the missionary project trips, and absolutely love it. So I've been staying involved with that, hoping to go to Haiti sometime. And I feel just helping out other people has become therapeutic for me. So I hope to continue that.